Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Total Traffic and Conversion Show. And I'm here with Betty Withrow and Roy Dickan. And today we're going to talk about integrating physical and online marketing strategies. So, after the pandemic, and for various reasons, a lot of our clients have been doing things strictly online. Um, but Roy's dealt with people who have brick and mortar places, and we've all dealt with the real world before in a previous life.
Yeah.
And so we're coming to some of our clients really who have been trying to do things online, but we've decided that that's not necessarily where their market is. And then we've been talking with others who have firmly involved in the real world, have operations on the ground, and we're going to talk a bit about that today. So, do you want to kick this off, Betty, with a few comments about the integrating this?
Well, definitely, there's been a huge shift in the marketplace. Everyone's had the chance to experience that in one way or another. And it's a learning experience, as we say, in the real world. So, in my experience, I have both online and physical businesses. One of my businesses is I'm a small scale fashion designer. And so I know that it's really important for people to have something physical to relate to, particularly if that's what they're shopping for. I mean, you can have a picture of an awesome fashion item online, and everybody loves to shop online too. But when you come to a custom piece, they want to pick it up, they want to feel it, they want to know the texture, they want to know the person. And I think that's one of the big things about physical marketplace is that's what people are really going for. It's a full tactile and sensory experience of seeing, smelling, relating with the person behind the counter. All of those things go into a shopping experience. And that same business undoubtedly has an online shop too, where you can go and pick out select pieces of merchandise. They probably don't have all their inventory online. So being able to integrate those two pieces is one of the new challenges in the world at this point. I think, for a certain number of people, really getting back into brick and mortar is a good move. And things like merchandising, branded stuff that showcases what your business is about, things like that. The good old T-shirt. It's reminding me of one of my sons has a T-shirt for his contracting company, and I was visiting him, and I go, "How do I get one of those?" Well, I'm his mom, so I got one free. But it's like, okay, I'm on Team Madrone Industries. That's what we want to establish, is that kind of a thing. For some of our clients, we're definitely moving into that build that teamwork, build that group relationship. And I think people are really hungry for that after we've all been isolated and had a just complete where's our identity going experience. Having that type of thing to relate to is a good move.
Yeah, and speaking of branding, here's our Total Traffic and Conversion shirt. And I've got a hat recently for a publishing thing that I'm relaunching. So anyway, Roy, often many of your niche domination clients have had brick and mortar businesses, and in some ways what you do is easier if they've got a physical location. And maybe you want to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, and even if they don't have a physical location, when I started, probably the first 5 years were primarily people who didn't really, marketing online was a very new thing for them. Now, it worked out well for them, but they didn't really know what that was all about. So they were all about merchandising and branding and all that. One of my first companies was in the home improvement business. So they all had T-shirts and could hand them out to people if they wanted to. They had those little things that go around the beer cans or cups and all that kind of thing, and pens and all kinds of merchandise. And I think what's happening now is this online thing has, just gone on so long that people want to get back to what used to be reality for them. And so they want to incorporate the merchandising and the branding, the physical stuff with what they're doing online. And so I kind of almost look at it as we want to do omni-channel marketing, and one of the channels is physical products. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and even you're talking about merchandise and things, like even some online marketers like Kim Walsh Phillips and Dan Kennedy and people, if you sign up for something, they're going to send you a shock and awe box. They're going to send you a box with, I got one from Kim Walsh Phillips that has some really pretty good sunglasses and a bunch of stuff, bumper stickers. I had one of them had a door hanger says busy making money or something like that, building my future. And so all that can be a lot of fun. So even if that's just purely online, just that physical connection. And in terms of marketing, a while ago we talked about direct print mail marketing, sending out things in the mail. And Dan Kennedy's a big fan of lumpy mail. I got a set of handcuffs in the mail from him one time. So it was just
that's really
and a bunch of things. And now that people, hardly anybody does it. It makes an even bigger impression when you get something mailed to you, right?
Yeah, I took a course years ago, and part of the course was a really nice leather-bound notebook where you could actually keep track of things you were doing every day. And it had the name of the course on it and all that, and that was very effective. Immediately, you were part of a group that had those kind of things. I think also there was a cup involved and some other things, and that's a wonderful way to get the group feeling right off the bat. I really enjoyed it and have those things and still use them till this day.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and it's even fairly easy to do. Like we have one of our referral partners, Allison Landis, who that's what she does. Like she creates all those physical things, T-shirts and mugs and replica cars or whatever it is you want, and lots of things like Vistaprint, Printable, Printful, all those things. All that stuff is a lot easier to do than it's been fairly easy if you knew where to look all along, but it's now there are lots of options.
It's a souvenir,
It's a souvenir.
And also, like Roy mentioned, integrating the different worlds together. I think people are ready for that now. I mean, first we were all physical with very little online. Then we were all online until now everybody's like, okay, now what? Can we put these together and come to some kind of a creative synthesis where the different elements can feed one another? That's what I would like to see people doing.
Yeah, and along those lines, our motto is always reuse and repurpose. So if you create a bunch of assets that you're going to use online, you can also use on, bus side advertising, whatever those things. There's a real great actually in the little town here. There's a little pub called the Grand Hotel, and it's pretty good lunch. And they've got one of those wooden tables, and they went out and they got various companies to get their logos and little stuff, and they put it embedded into the table and then put the
nice
clear acrylic. I'd never seen that. I got a bunch of photos, but I thought that was a brilliant idea.
I think so too.
People are sitting there, having their lunch or drinking a beer, and there's a little promotion in the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me when some of my earlier clients. This was before, online marketing was there, but it was mainly to attract new prospects. And they had trucks, and those trucks got wrapped. And so their message was every place they drove, and everybody's still doing that.
Yeah.
So, that's an effective way of doing it as well.
Yeah, a wrap works really well. And now even you can get magnetic things that you can stick on the side of your car, so you don't even have to go to that full extent.
I used to do that for them whenever I was going to wherever they were. I'd slap that out because I didn't want a rep of their product, but or their service actually is
Yes.
what it
So you
was.
so you wear their branding when you go to visit.
Exactly. Yeah, and it worked well. I mean, it was the same logo and everything. So
Uh-huh.
it looked like I was part of the whole team, which
Yeah,
I was.
part of the team. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then, Greg likes to say we run under the banner of total traffic and conversion. Well, there's banners,
Oh
there's
yeah,
Those
banners for
banners.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I wrote an article recently in this little town. There's a couple of main business streets, right? And quite a
Uh-huh.
few of the shops are empty, and then other ones look like they're empty. But if you go push your eye against and look in there, there's actually people in there. But there's, if you didn't know they were there, you wouldn't know. It's like stealth, more, stealth, and so there's a lot of things to do, and even something as simple as having a sandwich board that people can see from the street, or
That's
all
right.
those banners that you were talking about. You can get
Uh-huh.
like a 15-foot banner printed and hang it up, even if you're in a leasing situation where you can't necessarily, or you don't have the budget to redo the front of the building.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
there are all sorts of things that you can do.
Yeah, in my little town, they've got these these things that look like this that sit out in front of the stores, some of them, and they have either the menu or they're talking about something that's going on
Yeah,
inside.
yeah,
That's very effective. And then they can pick it up and
yeah,
put it
yeah.
inside when the
I think
store's closed.
I think that technically it's called an A-frame, and we sort of nickname it a sandwich board. But
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
didn't know
it's
what it was
really an
called,
A.
but
Yeah, and
it is effective. Yeah.
yeah, but you can just bring it in. Like I volunteered at an art gallery in North Vancouver for years. I worked for the Arts Association, and it was this thing that was kind of recessed on the side of the road. If you didn't know it was there, you would never see it. So, but they got a sandwich board and put it out there, and you can, people walking down the sidewalk almost trip over the board. Oh, there's a gallery here. What?
Yeah,
and
well, that's an
you can see
attention
it on the
getter.
road when you're driving. So that's something that can really make up for the disadvantage of your location.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like think of craft shows, like there's all these booths. How do you stand out at a craft show? You're going to need a nice little flag that distracts people and they're like, what is that thing? Right.
Yeah, curiosity factor.
Yes, it's like
yeah.
well, there are a couple of car dealerships will have, well, they'll have those blowy things in the wind or something,
Right.
or they'll have like there's one in Vancouver has like a small hot air balloon that's tethered and it's up in the air and you can see it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Balloons. Yeah. Balloons are real
good.
good.
Until it breaks loose and causes a plane to crash, then it's
No, we don't want to do that.
or it says, oh no, there's one of those Chinese weather balloons.
Well, let's shoot it down.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, how about pinwheels instead?
Yeah, pinwheels. Anyway, so all sorts of things. Like a lot of businesses, like all the big box stores know how to do this, right? Like if you're driving through Texas and you see a big Bucky sign with some sign that's 100 feet in the air, 30 feet across, you can't miss it. You're never going to miss the McDonald's or the Starbucks in your neighborhood, really, because they just stick out. But the small shops, they don't. I think people just don't think about it, as much as they need to.
Yeah, right. You have to advertise. If you don't have money, that's when you really need to advertise. So you have to get creative and find ways to make money so that you can advertise more and bring more people through the door. That's how it's done.
Yeah. It's kind of like a catch-22. I was talking to somebody with one of these stealth stores, right? Like the guy told me where it was, and I looked at the building and I never guessed in a million years that's what he was talking about. But they said, well, we don't have any money for signage or anything. Well, if you don't put at least some effort in, you're not going to get any business. You're just going to be an empty store at some point.
Right.
Like you're going to be the next empty retail space. So, and that a lot of that stuff is not expensive like that. Like they could make it a lot better, probably for $50 at the local print shop to at least print a few things and put it on the window.
Right.
Oh, that reminds me. Does anybody have those magnets on their refrigerator?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We've got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And it reminds you of whatever it is, if it's a restaurant or an insurance agent or whatever it is. And the phone number is usually right there.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't have to go looking for that.
and that works really well with the trades, right? Because
Yeah, very well for that.
we had a furnace, and the guy who come and service it, there was a chimney guy and this service guy. Either stuck a sticker on it or a magnet just on, on the furnace there. So when you go down, oh, I guess we need to do something. Oh, let's phone Bob. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if you go get your oil changed, they're always going to put a little sticker up in the windshield with, where it
I
needs.
take those off though.
You take those off, but it's,
but they're there in the first place. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And then once in a while he says, oh, geez, I'm about 10,000 miles behind of this one. Whoops.
Yeah. The newer cars, they tell you when you need service anyway. So
yeah.
You can't get around it. It's flashing right in front of your face, Service.
I drove my Volkswagen when it was relatively new through a small lake in North Vancouver. And I guess it shorted out the warning system, right? So it was flashing. It was sort of like automatic brake failure, light failure, engine fail. Don't drive. Don't stop. Don't drive. Stop.
In the middle of the lake. Thank you. Yeah.
So anyway, I realized the chances of everything failing all at once is about zero. So I realized it was an alert system failure. Anyway, what had happened is I just had it in for service, and there's a little harness that's underneath. They didn't put it together. They didn't push it far enough in, so it got water in, and so I took it in. They blew it out. That lasted for about a week, and then it had. They ended up having to replace the whole harness, really, but
it had nothing to do with you driving through the lake, right?
Well, the lake there's a lot of water. That car had well, okay. That car, I don't know. I'm glad, I thank the car regularly for forgiving me for what I put it through. I drove through a small storm in Texas in near Corpus Christi, and I went to the aquarium there, and I drove out, made a wrong turn, and drove through a lake, right? And the car stopped, right? And I said, no, not now. So I wilted out of the lake, and then it stalled, and then I let it sit for about 10 minutes, and it started, but it was running super rough. The engine light was on, and when I was driving, it was doing this clacking noise, right? And the car was only about 3 months old at the time. So I found a dealership in Corpus Christi, a Volkswagen dealership, and they didn't have any mechanics on duty, just sales, but we can sell you a new car. And then I just decided, they told me not to drive it, and I said, no, the hell with it. It's whatever damage is done. I'm just going to go head for San Antonio, some drier country. And anyway, it turned out by the time it dried out, after it sat for a day in 90-degree weather, the engine light went out, and I had determined that the clacking was not because of engine damage, but I'd ripped half of the air dam off of the front, and that was blowing in the wind. So anyway, I took it in for an oil change. They checked it out, replaced that, and I was good to go.
Always an adventure.
Yeah.
Was this the time when you had a GPS device and it didn't take you on the road? It actually took you into the lake?
No. It was I don't know if you ever go to the Texas Aquarium in Corpus Christi, it's under a big cloverleaf interchange, right?
Oh, I see.
And so the signage is really quite confusing. And I had made a turn, and I went down onto one of these side little roads, and that's where the water was sitting.
Okay, yeah.
It was kind of funny. The local radio station didn't even hardly mention this little shower. But later I was in Dallas, and they said, oh, there's pretty significant tropical, downpour.
Yeah. My sister lives in Houston, and I've been down there, and when it rains, for a long time, this is going back a lot of years, it was really bad. That kind of stuff was happening all the time. Since then, they've put in all kinds of drainage so that all the water goes eventually out to sea, out to the it's not the ocean. It's whatever's outside of Gaithersburg, or what is that? What is that town that's at the bottom of Texas?
Well, there's
San Antonio.
Well, Brownsville.
No.
No. I'm thinking it begins with well, anyway.
Galveston.
Galveston. There we go. I knew it began with a G.
Yeah.
And it's got ports and everything else.
Yeah.
Well, water eventually from Houston goes to Galveston.
Yeah.
So the drainage ditches have it headed that way.
So I was driving down, heading east along the Rio Grande, and this storm happened, and it felt like there was like a dump truck just dumped water on the front. Like it felt like it was about 6 inches thick. And I slowed down and got off the side of the road. I hope nobody drove into me and I didn't end up in the Rio Grande.
Yeah,
So it was really phenomenal. I've never seen so much water come all at once.
Yeah, all at once. Yeah, that's Texas.
Yeah.
Well, God bless them. I haven't been to Texas for a real long time. I don't expect that to change, really.
Well, if you go to Texas, I highly recommend the New Braunfels area. It's between San Antonio and Austin. And it's kind of hill country. It's far enough away from the water that you're not likely to get hit by a hurricane, and it's cooler than the rest of it.
Good to know.
It's a really nice spot. So
yeah,
it's kind of a German community, so you get all the German.
Yeah, there's a lot of German communities down there. When we went to one time, we went to Texas and we drove from Houston to Austin, and this might have been the hill country you're talking about. But what was beautiful was there were all kinds of eagles, bald eagles flying around. Oh, those things are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they're a beautiful country there.
We were in a little RV park that it was beautiful for one, and it had fiber optics. It's really hard to get good internet when you're traveling. But we had like deer run through in the morning, right? So it was really quite pretty. We were trying to sell signs. That's why we were there.
What were you selling?
Signs, like outdoor signs. Like neon signs, sort of.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah,
they use a lot of road signs down there of all types.
We also spent some time out in this is along the lines of physical marketing.
Are we off topic here?
We're circling back toward base.
Okay, let's circle back.
Anyway, we spent some time up in the oil patch, Odessa and Andrews, right? And one of our friends from Tyler, Texas says, "Well, why would you want to go there? It stinks."
Well,
and Bonnie says, I don't know. Some people think the smell of manure and oil is money, but but the climate there was absolutely horrendously bad. Like everything looked like it was sandblasted. Like, the signs that our company had sold were, half of the surface was sandblasted off. And then there's a big hazard with drunks and pickup trucks running over stuff. So there we go.
Right.
There used to be a lot of those. I don't think they allow you to drive with an open can of beer anymore, but they used to.
There was one of our signs was at about a 20-degree angle, and we asked how come that happened, because people kept on driving into it with trucks. And another place, it was a clothing store in the middle of the block, and we looked inside, and everybody was hanging out at the very back of the store. And they said twice pickup trucks have lost control, driven right through their front window, destroying half of their store, and then driving back onto the street, dragging everything they hadn't destroyed the first time.
But everybody's safe in the back.
Everybody's safe in the back. And we popped in to talk to a young guy. We were in the RV, and we talked to a young guy, and he was a muffler shop or something. And he said, it was Friday afternoon. He says, I don't advise you driving on a Friday afternoon.
Oh my
God.
God.
Not really safe.
All
That's Texas for you.
Okay.
There we go. Now we got the whole story.
Now you got the whole story. Anyway, signage is really good.
Yeah.
Like that's
This is good.
So
so that's the thing.
here we
And,
are. Here we are. We're back.
we're back, like outdoor signs, and I don't know, sometimes maybe Carmel, a few of those places have strict outdoor sign rules, right? You have to have everything in compliance.
Oh
like
yeah.
in like in Jasper, Alberta, they have it's a kind of, and Banff, it looks like kind of a chalet kind of town. So they want wooden signs mostly, and they want to be
Yeah.
a certain style. You can't just put up a flashy Vegas style neon sign
Right.
in the middle of the block.
No.
And you have to maintain a character, and some places won't even allow you to put out an outdoor sign. But
Yeah.
so it's all depends. So the other thing related to that is we've been talking with some people in the racing industry, which is a different
Right.
kind of thing. Like, and talking about living in the real world, nothing is more present and real than having a 1,000 horsepower engine blow up on you in front of you in the middle of a race, right? So that's pretty real.
Yeah.
That's as real as it gets. Yeah.
Yeah. It's bad not only for the driver, but for a lot of people around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's very much, and that's actually comes into online and real world stuff too, because
Sure
if you notice
does. Yeah.
any kind of racing car, racing, anything really, professional racing, a lot of sponsorship stuff with logos,
Yeah.
images, branded clothing, logos on the vehicle. My brother and I have been watching bots, and they're kind of funny. Some of those are sponsored by the weirdest things, right? Sort of a
Yeah. Anybody that wants to get their message across, that's a good place to do it.
Yeah. And this goes back to the teamwork aspect of things too, that because one of the strategies that we're proposing is to have branded merchandise that the fan club can buy into, that says things like exclusive, and people have that tribal instinct that we're all hungry for can be satisfied, and at the same time they're walking around with the logo on to raise awareness of this team, and it all feeds the same purpose of supporting the team.
Yeah. So we're talking about creating an online presence with a lot of profiles inside the team, right? Inside the mission, and then getting the fans involved so that they feel like they're part of it.
Yeah. The story of how it came to be is another thing that people can they buy into. A good motto goes a long way, because it serves not only the purpose of, say, a racing team, but also for people to gain courage and perseverance in their life. And that's where we really would love to support that kind of inspiration in businesses and in the lives of our clients.
Yeah. If a team can demonstrate a never quit attitude, then the fans can do that individually in their own lives, and that can be very powerful.
Indeed.
Yeah. So that's I guess maybe we should run through the kinds of things that we can apply to both online and physical marketing. So what kind of things are we doing?
Well, swag boxes.
Swag boxes, yeah.
I know several female entrepreneurs who specialize in swag boxes for their favorite clients. That's a great thing, because, as Roy pointed out, you don't forget, look at this amazing box that she sent me, and wow, this is a piece of beauty or luxury or just inspiration that goes a long way toward, keeping them in your camp, so to speak. And so what do you put in a swag box? Well, it depends what your brand is about. If it's a race car team,
Well, the team can't get in the box.
Miniature, a replica of the race car.
A replica of the race car could. Yeah, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And a cap with the logo.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Shirt,
I got a
coffee mug.
Yeah, and one of those things that can sit in the holders in your car or truck. Oh, there you go,
Right.
Greg.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got that. There was a show and shine car show here,
Mhm.
and the Lord, this is, I don't even know if they have this in the US, but it's a parts company, and they had all sorts of stuff. You just says, oh, take a hat, take a water bottle, take a beer
Water
can.
bottle. Forgot about that. Gotta have those.
Yeah.
To go along with that, the cup holder thing in the car or truck, you can also have your phone on one of those things that fits into the cup holder.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can do with those cup holders. We ought to think about that one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. This is how we do it. Generating ideas live right in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And then the other thing
This is it.
yeah, like when we're doing social media posts, we almost always create a little badge or something. But those things could also be used in print media, like as in magazines and newspapers, as ads as part of that. So that can go that way, and can also be used in brochures or things that you hand out in the store, things that you put on the walls. Like most of the grocery chains are really pretty good at it. They've got a lot of stuff outside with some specials, and usually a sandwich board, like those portable boards out there with the daily special. So they're pretty good at that. And coupons. So
Yes.
Yeah, coupons are good. Yeah.
coupons are good. And
Yeah, one of our clients has a physical business, and I'm in the process of putting her brochure together for her right now. So that's a good point. I forgot about that one.
yeah. And the other thing that people don't always think about is audio ads, like radio ads. Like often, especially in small towns, radio advertising is pretty cost effective, and one of the few ways you can get to almost everybody in the town, especially if there's only 2 radio stations they can get.
Right.
Yeah, radio advertising can be very effective, and TV advertising. I don't know if it's like that for you guys out there, but they're making that certain ads go to only certain areas.
Yeah.
So it'll be an ad spot, but depending on where you're located geographically, you'll see a specific ad for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we have regional television stations here. Like there are 2 or 3 major networks. Like there's the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, there's Global, and CTTV, and they all have, most cities have their own news and their own. So the cable channel might have, CTV Winnipeg, CTV Calgary, CTV, Kelowna, and so all those local ads are more relevant because it's in that area. So even in television, it's not like NBC or something where it's all across America. But even that, they're local. I think ABC has local.
Yeah, they have that kind of thing around here where only your region, only certain ads, but at that time, whatever region you're in gets an ad specific for that region. So it seems like, whoa, a national ad for this little company. Wow, but it's really only for your area. But yeah, it's very effective.
And depending on where you're at, sometimes it's inexpensive because the stations need to fill the air with something. Like
that's true too.
And also there's usually a place for public service announcements. Almost in Canada, almost every state radio and television station is committed to doing a certain amount of public service announcements. So an event is a perfectly good thing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got an art show opening or unveiling or a local race or something like that, and you submit it, and they'll come and they'll write it. And if you can sometimes just write it, like you write a press release or an article and send it off, and all they have to do is proofread it and publish it. That saves them a lot of trouble, because many of the media outlets are having trouble getting enough funding to keep the lights on and
True. Yeah.
and keeping staff. So the more you can make their life easier, and so you can take advantage of that. So you're not necessarily paying $10,000 a second for your ad.
No, that's for certain. Yeah, a lot of good opportunities for that.
Yeah,
lots of ways to do things. Direct mail, we talked about that one on a different broadcast. That one's very effective for certain kinds of markets.
Yeah.
Handouts, flyers,
Yeah.
You can even around here, if there's a brand new housing development, they have a guy out there on the street holding up an arrow, shaking it back and forth. He might be dressed in costume too, Not buy a new house,
We've got some of these guys who are really good at spinning that arrow and getting your
attention.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah.
And if you got somebody who's really good at that, it can really be effective.
Yeah.
I've put on a couple of music events, right, and in a venue, and one time there was a young woman who was sort of the marketing manager for things. She was out on the street. She pulled people in off the street. Says, "Oh, there's a really good blues musician here. Nobody had heard of him. It's only $20." She filled it up just because he's. And if you go to any tourist areas, they almost always have a restaurant. Will have somebody out there.
Oh, yeah.
You almost have to trip over them.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing like that big sign that says live music today.
That's for sure. Yeah.
That's our
I always look at those.
Yeah. Free beer tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
What good is that?
Yeah.
Right. It's like Alice in Wonderland. Jam yesterday and jam tomorrow, but never jam today. No, we don't have that.
I'll gladly, when there's a wimpy thing, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Right. Oh boy, you're dating yourself now.
Yeah, it's always that way.
Yeah, well, we haven't got to the F Troop jokes yet, anyway. So
no, I think we better stay away.
While you're ahead.
Yeah, that's for certain.
No, nobody in the younger generation needs to know about F Troop.
Yeah, there's
probably have no care to learn about it either.
Exactly. Phase that one out, please.
Yeah. So I find that when I once in a while I make a Group W bench joke, right? And then there's some people will get it and laugh. And I've learned by hard experience, never try to explain it because you can't really explain it without getting both feet in your mouth.
Right. That's the truth. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Oh boy.
Okay, so do we have what other things are we doing? We've covered quite a bit, most of the things, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna have to make a list after this. Like I said, once I get a break, then I can start making lists of swag and merchandise and things like that. So
and I thought of a good mailer that I got, and I still use it. It's a little metal clip that turns into like one of those triangle things, whatever you call them, the A-frame or whatever it was. But what you do is you put your tablet in it. So it's very effective because, when it folds up, it hardly takes any room at all. Yeah. But it's so important for putting your tab, or you could put your phone if you want to be live on the phone or on the tablet. So, I got that from somebody that I think was an insurance agent, and that's a very effective. And you could put your own brand on that little clip to make it even doubly effective.
Oh, yeah. So I got something from Russell Brunson. Whoops, okay.
Shopping bags.
Oh, shopping bag. Yes, shopping bag. Actually, I mentioned Linda Hollander.
Yeah.
The sponsor concierge. That's her story. She started a company called the Shopping Bags with another partner, and that's what they did, branded shopping bags. That's how they got started.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. And then, I was going to say, I've got a swag box that came with a whole audio series on basically iPod. Came with a branded, I think probably ClickFunnels branded iPod player, so you could plug it into your car, or you can put the headphones in there. So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of another one too, a backpack, a branded backpack, because whatever outdoor event you're going to, that can be,
yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, stickers.
Oh, stickers, bumper stickers too.
Yeah.
Bumper stickers too. Yeah.
Embroidered shirts, Greg.
Embroidered shirts.
Yeah. That's
this one's embroidered.
There we
the
go.
Hat's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the other thing, actually, along the lines, because we are doing this with a client, we're creating a newsletter, like say a monthly newsletter, and that's the kind of thing that could be both online, delivered digitally, and also delivered by mail.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but you have to get to a certain point before you can pay for it to go out by mail. Yeah, right. So because it's an expensive proposition, really. But that's something you can consider. And again, along the reuse and all those blog post stuff, everything that we're creating can also go into a print or a digital newsletter too.
Repurposing. That's
repurposing. Yeah, repurposing. Create once, use in many places.
Yeah,
including video, including audio.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just a big content machine, really.
That's right. Content is the most important thing that I'm aware of as far as attracting potential prospects.
Yeah. So I guess
a couple of words, or it can be a lot of words, or anyway.
Now is probably a good time for us to talk about the total traffic and conversion way.
That's an idea.
Yeah, because our general philosophy is we want you to be everywhere. So if you're online, you're searching for something, wow, there they are. And then you're looking through YouTube, and wow, there you are. And then and then all of a sudden there's this stuff in your mailbox.
That's right.
And so wow, they must be really good, and they're the only choice in this niche because nobody else is. We've squeezed them out.
Yeah, the more different ways you hit people with your message, the better.
And that's what your strategy is with your Google business profile is. So if you're the local dentist, you want to be the only dentist they ever see when they're doing a search.
Yeah, you can't lose that way.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Okay, so we've probably covered most of our stories and our things.
I think so.
Anyway, I would just say encourage everybody to come and visit totaltrafficandconversion.com. You can learn more about us and what we're doing, and you can book an appointment. And we have been doing an online effectiveness review, but I think we're going to extend that to just an effectiveness review, because we'll look at how what your business looks like on the ground, the bricks and mortar, and then also what you look like online. And really, you want all of those pieces to be consistent and rowing together to create your success. And then you get a little synergy everywhere.
Omnipresence.
Omnipresent. We're back to the world domination.
Yeah, forget niche. Let's go for the world.
Well, you got to start somewhere, Roy. You got
to start. Well, you always say that too. You start in your town, then you move and expand and cover the county, and then the state, and then the neighboring states.
And then you're in other countries. Yeah.
And then you're in the other countries, right? So
the object is to get to all the other countries then.
Yeah. But you start small.
You start in your own little town.
Yeah.
Or big town, if that's what you got.
Or big town, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I guess we'll play our little video out again. One of these days I'm going to hit the wrong one. That's okay. Anyway,
might be good too. You never know.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Hmm.